In this lesson, we're going to look at how we solve this equation. Now, this is called a linear equation, and we're going to solve it by using a balancing equations method. So the way we tackle this is we'll look at the terms within this equation. Now, if I think about it, it's like I've got a top floor of a house here, and then we've got a floor underneath, and we have this term. Let's say he's out in the garden sitting somewhere. And if these were friends, then the 4 next to the x, well, the 4 would be its closest friend. Then we've got this 2 in the same room on the top floor. Then we've got the 2 in the apartment underneath. And then this friend here is out in the garden. And imagine if our closest friends, we want to keep those to last, and those that are in the garden, well, we're going to get rid of those first. Now, the way we do that is we use a balancing equation method. So the first thing I need to eliminate is this plus 6. And to do that, I do the inverse operation, which is to subtract 6. And I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Now, by doing that, what I'm left with on the left is, well, I have the 4x plus 2. And that is still over 2. Obviously, the 6's will cancel. And that will leave me with 23 subtract the 6, which is 17. Now, the next thing I need to eliminate is this 2 down here. Remember, they're in the apartment below, so they're not a close friend. And to eliminate that, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 2. So I'm going to multiply this side by 2. I'm also going to multiply this side by 2. So I'm balancing the equation. Now, by multiplying by 2 on both sides, well, on the left-hand side, the 2's will cancel. So this times by 2 will cancel with this divide by 2. And that will leave me with 4x plus 2. And that will be equal to 17 multiplied by 2, which is 34. Now, the next friend I'm getting rid of is this plus 2. Remember, we're keeping this 4 to the very end because that's the closest friend. And to eliminate that plus 2, we need to subtract 2 from both sides. Now, that will leave me with 4x on the left-hand side. The 2's will cancel. And that is equal to 32. Now, the last thing to do is simply to divide both sides by 4. So I'm going to divide by 4 and divide by 4. That will leave me that x is equal to 8. Now, I can check the answer by putting that value of 8 back into the original equation. So I'm going to put the 8 where the x would be. So 4 multiplied by 8, that's 32, plus the 2, that's 34. 34 divided by 2 is 17, and 17 plus 6, well, that equals 23. So the answer is correct.